My name is Windy Melissa Simangunsong. I am an active student at the HKBP Nomensen Pematang Siantar University. Now, I want to tell about Lake Sidihoni. Long time ago, in the village of Hutabange, there lived a husband and wife named Opung Sawangin Simalango and his wife Boru Malau Pase. The village was once a swamp forest and was uninhabited. They live in harmony until they have 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. The names of Mr. Simalango's children who are now known are Opung Mandalahat, Opung Haulian, Opung Saudungan, Opung Hutapir, Opung Tinambamboru, and Opung Nebaho Syahaan. Because in the past, food needs were still difficult to obtain, they only expected the sweet potatoes they planned to survive. In Hutabange, there is an edible soil, it's called Tanah Bange. Sometimes, when there is no edible sweet potato, they eat the edible soil. That's how the family life of Opung Sawangin Simalango was until their children grew up. Once upon a time, Opung Sawangin Simalango went to a wilderness that he had never been to in the village, and he found a small puddle of water in the middle of the wilderness. At first, he just thought it was just a small puddle and it would not be possible to be wide. And a few days after he found the puddle, in the evening came a tornado and heavy rain that made the wilderness topple. After the incident, Opung Sawangin Simalango prayed to Debata Mula Jadina Bulun that there would be no more tornadoes like a few days ago that made all the forest in Hutabange village uprooted. After a few days, since Opung Sawangin Simalango prayed, he returned to the fallen wilderness. He found a puddle that was initially small, has now grown wider, and after seeing the puddle, he still considered it normal and he returned home. After he got home, he found his son, Opung Haulian, sat in front of the house waiting for his arrival. "Why are you in front of the house?" said Opung Sawangin Simalango. Opung Haulian replied, "I have something to say, but you seem very tired." "Yes, my son, tonight we will talk about what you want to talk about." "Yes, sir," replied Opung Haulian. 'Cause it was evening, the family gathered to talk. "So, what did you want to talk about?" asked Opung Sawangin Simalango to open a conversation. "Look, sir, I have a plan to migrate to another village," replied Opung Haulian. "Wondering where are you planning to go?" asked Opung Sawangin Simalango again. "To the Semalungun area, sir," answered Opung Haulian. "Try to ask your mother, brothers and sisters first. Do they agree or not that you go abroad?" replied Opung Sawangin Simalango softly. "How are you, brother and sister? Do you agree if I wander?" asked Opung Haulian to his mother and brother. "If you have to wander, you think it's best for you, then go abroad," replied his mother. Opung Haulian's heart was happy when he heard his mother's answer. "You guys and my brother." The more happy Opung Haulian heard the answer from his brother. "Because your mother, brother and sister have agreed for you to go abroad, you can go abroad," answered Opung Sawangin Simalango, deciding. "Thank you, sir, mother, brothers and sisters," answered Opung Haulian happily. The next day came the day that Opung Haulian had been waiting for the migrate. Say goodbye to him and his family and go to Simalungun village. Opung Sawangin Simalango and his family are back in their routines after being abandoned by their children and siblings. When he and his son went to farm, it, it rained so hard that they could not leave the house. The next day, it was the same, so they didn't go to the fields for a few days. At one day, the sky cleared and they went out, out to farm. Opung Sawangin Simalango went to the wilderness and was very surprised when he saw that the puddle was getting wider. And finally, Opung Sawangin Simalango believed that there was something strange about the puddle. The next day, Opung Sawangin Simalango returned to the puddle and brought offerings such as kafir, lime, betel leaf, white itak, and hitang ni andalu. While placing the offering, he prayed to Debata Mulajadi Nabolon so that he and his family, especially his son who went abroad, would be given sufficient health and fortune. After this incident, Opung Sawangin Simalango has more and more fortune and also has supernatural powers which he believes he received from Debata Mulajadi Nabolon. Day by day, the puddle was getting wider, until one day he gave the name of the already wide puddle to Lake Sidihoni, which means Sidihoni is Manilik. Because Opung Sawangin Simalango often visits Lake Sidihoni, he occasionally tries fishing in the lake, and without realizing it, he often gets fish from the fishing rods. As for the fish he got, it was different. Sometimes he gets snakehead fish, fish, pora fish, and catfish. He was very happy with his fishing results. Since then he also invited his family to give offerings on the edge of the lake. He and his family are increasingly giving offering there because he considers the fortune he has received so far from the Creator. And because of the promise of Opung Sawangin Simalango to the lake, until now, Lake Sidihoni is still kept sacred. Until one day, for the first time, Lake Sidihoni turned very dry, as that it meant a bad sign for the descendants of Opung Sawangin Simalango or for his country. Precisely after the incident in 1943, Dutch troops colonized Indonesia. When Indonesia was colonized, the Dutch troops changed the name of Lake Sidihoni to Lake Sidihoni. The name was changed to make it easier to pronounce and remember. Likewise, in 1944, Japanese troops again colonized Indonesia. After the Japanese troops finished colonizing Indonesia, the descendants of Opung Sawangin Simalango gave offerings like what Opung Sawangin Simalango had done before. And a few days after that, the water of Lake Sidihoni of Lake Sidihoni rose again, and after that, in 1959, the water of Lake Sidihoni did not dry but changed color to red. It, it gave a signal to the descendants of Opung Sawangin Simalango that something bad was going to happen. The incident was the, the arrival of the PRRI organization to Indonesia. The same thing happened again in 1987 when the new order changed to reform. That is when Suharto stepped down from position as President of the Republic of Indonesia. And in 2005, during the earthquake of Nias Island, the descendants of Opung Sawangin Simalango performed a ritual to Lake Sidihoni to return to its former size. The offerings they give are white goats and gondang sabangunan. Usually, they do it from in it. Usually, they do it from the eye and then to Lake Sidihoni with gondang sabangunan. From year to year, more and more descendants of Opung Sawangin Simalango live in Hutabange. And they also use Sidihoni lake water for their daily needs. Even now, it's not only the descendants of Opung Sawangin Simalango who use the water, but there are also those from Water Village who is it. The village is Lintong Nihuta, Paraduan Sijambur. Not only that, Sidihoni lake can also be used by people who are from outside the area but must remain polite when they want to use this lake water. That's all I can say. If there are words or sentences that are wrong, I apologize. Thank you.